So here's the map. I call it my heuristic evidence roadmap. And where are we now in the roadmap of evidence? We're here. We're here. I usually draw this my own invention, just a drawing for my students in China. I just started drawing it on the blackboard, but here we have this PowerPoint screen, so I couldn't really draw it. So the beauty of drawing it is you can see the sequence, right? But anyway, I just give it all. 407 is here. But I would like to show you like overall like the roadmap. I call it a heuristic roadmap of FRE because it's mostly for the pedagogical purpose to help you learning. It's not like a one-to-one reflection of the reality, like take photos, but it's a reflection of the reality of set rules of evidence at the abstract level, and I found it's useful as a heuristic tool for you to choose the evidence FRE, and I draw this to my Chinese students. Most of them, after the whole semester, they actually have a very good sense of set rules of evidence, and they actually can get most multiple choice questions correct for the New York bar exam. Those questions they can get it correct, but after a while, like after 3 years or 2 years, and I met them and asked them again, hey, do you still remember like 407, what exactly 407 said? Maybe they can still answer, and I asked them, can you still remember like 801 D2? And they already forgot, most of them. But most of them still remember this diagram somehow. This diagram, some people told me like, I just had a dream yesterday, and in the dream, you are drawing this map. I said, wow, I was so successful. Okay, so this whole map, abstractly, it's basically covers the most important points of FRE, in my opinion. So you can see like the large circles. The 3 largest circles I draw here are relevancy, right? Relevancy, witness, and hearsay. That counts most rules of evidence. Also, it will amount to like most of the time you are learning, professor teaching for any evidence, American evidence class, courses, and so for the relevancy, what we have already learned is rule 4.1, 4.2, 4.3. These 3 are the most foundational rules of FRE. Okay, you can think about like a rule 4.1, 4.2 as a father and 4.3 as the mother. So it's like a really foundational rules. And Professor Winston asked the question like, hey, the other day, like, why not just just apply rule 4.1, 4.2 and 4.3 and get rid of all the rest of the rules? What's the reason not doing that? And we had a very vivid discussion in class, right? But still, why she asked that question? Because there's a concern, there's a real concern. Yes, there's some possibilities that actually we can just use, just have these 3 little rules and maybe add another like a universal rules like 1.3, 1.5. And we can actually make this evidence presentation and fact finding working for any cases. And it's indeed happening, many places in the world, they don't have very robust evidence rules like federal rules of evidence. And they basically just applying rule 4.1, 4.2, 4.3. That's called a free proof. In many countries, actually, quite an amazing number of countries doing that. But there's a reason why we have all the rest, the major parts here, right? For a reason. That's why the federal rules of evidence is so far the most comprehensive, sophisticated system of evidence law in the whole world. And every country's, all like students are learning FYE, right? In China, also they are learning very, very in a hard way. They learn really, really hard about FYE as well. A classroom like this size in Beijing are doing the same thing. Okay, so beyond what we have already learned, right? 103 we learned in the first class. It's a rule for operation, you know, objections, right? Preserve evidence for the appeal. 105, first class as well, limiting the limiting use of evidence, limiting instruction for the jury. You still remember? Here is policy-based exclusion rules. That's what we are going to explore in the next few days. And today is 4.7, the subsequent remedial measures. 4.8 is settlement rule. 4.9, it's the 4.9 is about plea bargaining, right? 4.10, 4.9 is about offer to pay medical bill. 4.10 is the plea bargaining. 4.11 is the liability insurance rules. For somehow the lawmakers they want to embed some like socially good policies into this evidence rules, and then we will do character evidence rules. 4.6 is the habit rules, and then some rules related to sex. Actually, all these are actually in the map of relevancy because like policy-based exclusion rules, character evidence rules, 4.6, and the rules with regard to sex, actually they are specific application of 4.3 by the lawmakers. So they're like, you know, fixed application of 4.3 by the lawmakers. And so lawyers and the judges don't need to try 4.3 again by themselves on these specific categories. And the witness rule is the second largest category. And two most important categories of witness are lay witness and expert witness. And we will have some impeachment rules here. I know today we will touch a little bit about the impeachment, right? In 4.7, but the main part, there's some other time, significant class time, we're gonna address impeachment. So don't worry about too much about impeachment part today. The last major category is hearsay rules. I didn't add like additional branches of hearsay because it's like too much. You're gonna study about a whole month of hearsay rules, exception, definition of hearsay, exception rules, and exception to exception, and exception to exception to exception, and eventually there's a residual rules of hearsay. And we have two important digressions. I call them important digressions for this course. One is evidence rules relating to writings. You know, evidence is not just about witness testimony, live witness testimonies, but also there's like documentary evidence, right? Photos, nowadays like AI evidence, electronic evidence, right? Those are, we'll put them to the category of abstractly as writings. And then regarding to writings, we have authentication rules. We have the best evidence rules. Some rules called best evidence rules. This is very important, right? You just master this best evidence rule, then you probably can solve any problems. But actually not. It's a very old, very ancient rules called best evidence rules. And the last important digression is the privileges, like attorney-client privilege, marital privilege, those rules. And somehow today's policy-based exclusion, this week or the next week's policy-based exclusion rules, and the 4.7 somehow linked. There's some relations with privileges, and you can see that later. And there, all other rules, I couldn't categorize them, just put it into other rules, judicial notice rule, presumption rules, and usually these categories we don't adjust significantly in the class time or in any evidence course. And here, like some universal rules or the backdoor rules, you always constantly need to think about them. 103, 105, the limiting instruction for the jury. 403. So because 403 is so important, I wrote that twice. Okay. So that's the general map of it. So from this map, you can see that generally speaking, the lawmakers of FRE, they really prefer witness testimony to documentary to documents evidence. Because for witness testify at a trial, the attorneys can do the direct examination, cross-examination, right? But for a document, you cannot do that, right? You cannot cross-examine a document. So that's why, the witness testimony rule is more important, it seems. Okay. Maybe you already got lost it already. But we are here. Okay. Any questions? All right. Okay.